What is up, YouTube? It is Ian Victor, and I'm back at it again with another video, man. Just here to spread knowledge, love, and positivity, and the truth. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves spiritually, mentally, and physically, and I hope you guys are in good spirits in these crazy times that we are living in. Alright, man. My goal for this video is to not make this video too long. Every time I say that, I always make the video too long. But we're going to talk about real relationships and genuine connections are becoming rare in today's society. Y'all gonna ask me, Ian, why do you say that? I say this because real relationships and genuine connections are literally becoming little to none in today's society. Like, back when I was growing up, back in the 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, maybe to early 2010s or whatnot, we didn't really have the social media age like that. So, what, you know, people had to do and what society had to do was go and build real connections, build real relationships. And how that happened was, kids growing up, you would go outside, you would, hang out with friends, play basketball, play football, whether if you was living in the suburbs, living in an apartment complex, probably living in the hood, like, a, like growing up as a kid, it was the fun times because you didn't have to worry about paying bills or whatnot. You didn't have to worry about you know society. You didn't have to worry about social media because we know Facebook was a thing in the early 2000s, but it wasn't as big yet. So you know people were just building real connections, you know meeting up at places or whatnot, meeting each other's families, having family cookouts, having family gatherings, you know, having, friends, come spend the night at your house or you go over to another friend's house, the parents, for each other's side of the families, having to come together, to make it happen because, back in the day, I know for a fact that parents were real big on if you were going somewhere, if you was going to, go to a friend's house or spend the night, they would want to know who was the friend, who was the friend's parents, where did they live at, you know, the whole 99 yards. Like, as a kid, you may be thinking about, man, why are they asking these questions? Like, can I just go to my friend's house? But then once you start to grow up, you would realize, like, okay, I finally understand. Like, I finally get it because, they were just looking out for my well being and my safety. Because nowadays, we don't get to that part. But, like, once, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, really started to become big and, like, like 2013, 2014, 15 onward, going towards today, you kind of like start to see, society going into a wrong direction. You feel me? Like, you start to see people like start to like follow trends, you know, start acting different. But at the same time, like, in your mind, and you just like, bro, this is the same guy, like, that I grew up with. But then once time went on and on, now put the social media to the side, you start to see like who this person really is. Like he ain't the person that he was when we were just kids growing up playing basketball or whatever. Like, this is a total different dude. And in my opinion, like, I don't even want to associate myself with him. So then we get to relationships, right? That was just about genuine connections. Now, let's get into the relationships. We all know, like, our grandparents and their parents and then their parents, they would stay together through thick and thin. Like, in your mind, like, you would be thinking that you would be able to go find someone and be with them for the rest of their lives. Be with them for the rest of your life until death do you part. That's not the case in this today's society. I mean, in this society today, you got people that are becoming baby mamas, baby daddies. How many kids, how many baby mamas, how many baby daddies that, we got. And I'm just like, that, that that's just not the way. That's just not the way it goes. Because one, you're destroying a child in the long term. And number two, you're having kids out of wedlock. Like, I was really, really a big believer in having kids, you know, when you are married, and I'm still kind of big on that. Like, I don't want to have kids with someone that I know for a fact that I'm not going to have a long term relationship with. And that's what's really, really missing in today's society. Like, we're not bringing shame to today's society. I feel like shame, I feel like it is coming back a bit, but it's not really the same. You know, especially like back in the day, like if you did something wrong, in a relationship, bro, you was getting called out for it. Like, from like everybody, even family would even call you out. Hell, I ain't gonna shy away from it. Hell, I had to call out a family member for things that I'm going to keep private. But at the same time, like, we literally are having fathers not being in the household. Hell, you even have mothers that are not even in the household. Like, we're literally having single moms and single dads out here. Nothing wrong with you guys. Like, hey, you know, I support, you guys. I know you guys are having it tough. I know you guys are figuring it out to the hardest, trying to make a way for your children. Like, hey, I hope nothing but the best for the kids, in the long term. I hope the kids are becoming successful, when they grow up. And I hope, the single moms and the single dads, find success as well. But let's take a step back. I feel like relationships are and genuine connections are becoming rare in today's society is literally because everything is over sexualized. Everything is literally evolved around social media. I mean, there is some instances like people want to meet up, but at the same time, people having in their minds is like, maybe this could be a setup. Maybe, excuse me, maybe it's a situation where my gut is telling me that something is just not right, which is totally understandable. Like, I get it. You always want to trust your gut about some things, but no wonder why we having a lot of crime going on. We having a lot of mental breakdowns is because there's not enough love that is being spread around. There's not enough, guidance for the youngins, to be. I would just say there's not a lot of mentors. I think that's also missing. There's not a lot of mentors because if these kids would have a lot of mentors and guidance, you wouldn't have these young kids crashing out on principals, crashing out on teachers, crashing out on other students, other kids. You wouldn't even have kids disrespecting authority. Because I remember back in the day, like if you disrespect any authority and your parents find out, when you got home, it was your ass. Like, I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I remember, I remember I was in kindergarten and disrespected an authority. I got home and it's like, Ian, you better not do that ever again. And then that day forward, I never disrespected any authority. That was instilled in me from that day forward. And that was about at least 2000 and I think it was like 2006, 2007 for crying out loud. But I just feel like this society is cooked when it comes to real relationships and genuine connections. Like I I want to shout out to those who have real relationships and have genuine connections with one another because it is becoming rare. And no wonder why a lot of people are just staying to themselves is because they can't find real connections and real relationships anywhere because this society, I mean, if you take away social media for a year, a lot of people's gonna have to be forced to get back into the old ways, going outside, you know, meeting everybody, getting to know the whole neighborhood, maybe getting to know the apartment complex or whatnot. Like, I think it's gotta have to be a situation where there has to be a social media blackout that has to last for at least a few months because you got children, you literally got young teenagers that are literally so addicted to their phones. It's like they really, I mean, they're making friends, but they're not really building genuine connections. They're not building genuine relationships. They're just too glued to stick to the phone. Like me personally, I think the phones is another sign of you just being locked up because 9 times out of 10 you're glued to it all the time. Like a lot of people is just letting the phones, letting other distractions, other venues like television tell lies to your vision, literally just control them on a daily basis. Like no wonder why it's affecting their moods, it's affecting their overall joy, their overall day. Like it just got to a point like it's affecting their well-being. It's affecting them on a mental level. Like they're like situations like this has to be addressed in a way because how I view society or where it's heading, it's not heading in a good direction. You know, Me personally, like I try so hard, to find a woman, that, you know, I have interest in, and I'm gonna be honest. Like it's just hard. It really is hard. I'm not even gonna lie. Like it's pretty hard. And I know from a woman's perspective, finding a good man is pretty hard for them because they're constantly having to deal with guys that ain't shit, that ain't got nothing going for themselves, just want to sit around the house all day, not do anything, not being productive, you know, not being creative with their ideas that they have, you know, and I can say the same for men, having a woman that just, not wanting to be on the same level as you, not getting right on a mental, spiritual, and physical level, you know, not being nice to, people in public, you know, it gets hard. I think the biggest thing, you know, to really, really look out for, if you want to build a genuine connection or find a real relationship with someone, is their character. Because I think a lot of people is overlooking, that person's overall character, and they're just going for the looks. Yeah, looks can be, something to go for, but you need to look at a person's character and their personality, you know, and spend some time knowing the person, getting to know their character, what makes them feel good, what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what makes them mad, what makes them, upset, how is their mental, how is their well-being, you know, like, and also another thing, like, and I found this idea out, and I was just thinking about this idea. You know, if you want to discuss this like on a Sunday, or over the weekend thing, like put the phone to the side, for like an hour or two. You could just sit down with your significant other, you know, and just talk about how the relationship is going. You know, what are some things that, you know, that that your significant other can improve on? What is some things that you know your significant other is doing that you are satisfied with, whether if it's, you know like compatibility, or in the bedroom, or literally, like, out in the real world. you know I think like that's really, really missing, you know in a relationship. I think there is some couples that do that, but I just don't know. But I would say, take an hour or two out of your day, like on a weekend or whatnot, and just talk about, you know, your relationship. See where they at. See if they're happy, in the relationship. See if they're, not pleased in a relationship, and just talk things out. It's all about the communication. And I just think that that is just lacking in today's society. There's a lack of communication, going on. No wonder why there's not enough real relationships, not enough genuine connections. It's just because people just don't want to communicate, But I'm going to go ahead and, leave it right there for right now. I may make a part two to this, but I will see where my head is at, you know, about this topic. And we'll go from there. If you all like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you do not miss out on any other videos that I drop. Till next time, I'm signing out. Peace.